From Kommel, you can see the prestigious Kruisheren Hotel. The hotel is located inside the former Gothic Kruisheren Cloister, a monastery of the Kruisheren Friars, with its church. The complex was built in South Limburg milestone. Inside the walls, the character and style of the former monastery go together with the modernity of a luxury hotel. The building still shows the history of the monastery. Visitors were as welcome in the monastery as they are in the hotel. The church was and still is the central part of the building. It is oriented towards the east because that is where the sun rises. During morning mass, the light always shone through the big stained glass windows. This symbolized the light of God. Nowadays, the hotel's breakfast hall is located on the entresol, at the level of the impressive windows. The monastery was built against the church. The monastery wings enclosed a square courtyard. Inside were the refectory, the reading room, the workplaces, a bakery, a brewery, and the dormitories for the conventuals. From the monastery, there was a direct passage to the church. This was necessary because the conventuals gathered in church 8 times a day for the hours, masses, prayers, and hymns. Those determined the conventual's daily rhythm. The Kruisheren Friars lived in the monastery from the beginning of the 15th century until the end of the 18th century. The members of the Order of the Holy Cross could be recognized by their clothing. Their habits bore a cross with a red and a white stripe. The colors refer to the blood and water that flowed from Christ's side when he died on the cross. The daily work consisted of studying, copying and binding books. The handwritings of the Kruisheren Friars were very popular. They also made themselves useful during the 1529 epidemic of plague. The Kruisheren Cloister was one of 22 monasteries that were founded in Maastricht during the Middle Ages. It is all the more conspicuous that only 3% of the population were clergymen. The number of inhabitants per monastery was never very high. In the heyday of the Kruisheren Cloister, it was occupied by only 25 conventuals. At the end of the 18th century, Maastricht became a French city. The French law required the separation of church and state. All the city monasteries and convents were closed. Tasks that were carried out by the conventuals, such as teaching, taking care of the sick and poor, and many more things, were the government's responsibility from then on. More than a century later, the conventuals were allowed to return. This rarely happened because the monasteries had all either been given a worldly function or they were dilapidated. The Kruisheren Friars have never returned to Maastricht.